Hello, everyone. Today I am connected with Sara Liberty. So, thank you so much, Sara, for connecting with me today. I'm really excited to hear about your story and what you do. You are a photographer, and where are you based out of?
Well, I just relocated to, I'm in southern Louisiana now.
Okay.
But I'm originally from Massachusetts.
Mhm.
From Massachusetts, I ran a motorcycle shop in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for about 15 years. And from there, I kind of went full gypsy van life and did a lot of freelance work. Photojournalism within the motorcycle industry, firearms industries, and spent about 4 years in the Black Hills of South Dakota, which you probably are more familiar as the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally area,
Right.
and currently in southern Louisiana.
Okay, cool. So, you are a photographer and you do a lot of freelance work, like you were saying. So, talk to me about how you got into photography. How long have you been doing that for?
My gosh. I originally started out as a realist painter, oil painter. And we're talking like junior high school time frame into high school. Studied privately with an amazing lady, Christine O'Brien, and she hired me on to be an assistant instructor with her younger students. Was super passionate about arts and after not being able to follow my brother's footsteps and join the army due to my dad having a little hesitation with that, I went into art school. And in art school, was introduced to so many different media to play with, one of which was photography. Had some amazing photography instructors. Linda White was very influential on me. And from there, I really just kind of started combining my passions, which was motorcycles and photography. And just kind of stayed into it and built my career. And not really like with a purpose goal of doing that. I just kind of lived every day and did what I enjoyed doing, riding motorcycles and taking photos and um, sharing my experience with people, and built a pretty amazing career doing that. We're talking over 30 years now. So,
Wow. Okay. Well,
yeah,
good for you. And I love the fact that you just incorporate all your passions into your photography. So, and you also say you ride. So, of course, that's why we're chatting with you. We're Russ Brown, and we love
yeah.
motorcycles here. So, could you share a story behind how your first encounter with motorcycles and how that experience or that love of motorcycles got you into your creative work and you started taking photos of motorcycles?
Oh gosh, my love of motorcycling, it was kind of sort of like the my yeah, my dad owned a steel business and was also into um automotive. He was a race car driver. He collected cars. He was a gearhead, and so I kind of grew up in that environment. And so anything motorized and that would take you for a fun adventure, I was into go-karts. Everything racing, whatever we could get our hands on, and just kind of like, you know. My passion for that stuff kind of led me into exploring the machine creatively through my camera, through my words, and I really got interested in the mechanics of the motorcycle, how to work on motorcycles. Before I bought my first street bike, I wanted to learn how to work on a motorcycle, so I studied. I hung out in mechanic shops, friends' shops, learned how to tear a Sportster, Harley Davidson Sportster down and put it back together before I purchased my own. Um, and then I just kept kind of expanding on that knowledge and really started to learn how to customize motorcycles, which led me to opening RT's North Hill Cycle in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with Ron Tinetti. Um, Ran that shop for 15 years, and just submerged myself in that lifestyle that I had a passion for. It was always, I want to make this machine beautiful and fun, and share this experience with everybody. And yeah, it's been amazing.
Okay, that's great. So you have a deeper knowledge and passion for motorcycles, not just from for the love of riding, but you like to.
No, I got into, I mean, I kind of geek out on stuff when I get into something. I kind of go full bore. I learned so much about working on motorcycles that I authored a book, How to Repair and Maintain American V-twin Motorcycles.
Oh, sweet.
Um, that was published by Motor Books International. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to take the journey that I took and preparing myself with all this knowledge, all this information, so I could be reliant on not depending on it. I was by myself. I didn't want to, what if I broke down? What if, I had a problem? What if I'm on the side of the road? How am I going to fix this? So I just took my journey of gathering all this information and learning and shared it with people with the book. So
That's
that
really
was the first book I wrote. I wrote another book, 1000 Biker Tattoos, which
cool.
was more of like a cool coffee table book, that kind of based off of my career as a journalist, meeting all of these amazing people with these incredible motorcycle themed tattoos and the meanings behind them, and kind of got into the history of motorcycle tattoos. And like I said, I can geek out on something when I get into it. So
Okay, I love that. So you really are getting yourself in so many different areas with your photography, not only just motorcycles, but tattoos. And it seems like you've had a lot of collaborations, and I'm sure you're meeting so many people. So I would love to know about a collaboration that you've had that has been both inspiring and challenging. And can you kind of just describe that transformative collaboration and what you learned from it? And
gosh,
something
I'd
unexpected came about from it as well.
well, I'd say probably the most important project I've been a part of was Veterans Charity Ride.
Okay.
I was the embedded photographer, support videographer, um, for 7 years.
Mhm.
And, we'd take wounded and disabled veterans on a motorcycle therapy ride. Typically, we'd leave from the West Coast and would traverse all the way up to Sturgis, South Dakota. And it was challenging times. And it just, I don't know how to describe it. I don't even know if I can put it into words what happens as you watch the transformation of this group of people that were strangers,
Mhm.
all with their own, you know, tough luck stuff that they're dealing with, and watch them just transform. And even myself, we're here to support them and document, but it's amazing the transformation that happens inside you. um, that this group of strangers just becomes this lifelong bond now. This family just formed,
Mhm.
and challenges were overcome, and things were happening through the support of one another together. And just extremely powerful and humbling, and probably the most important work I've done in my career was being involved with Veterans Charity Ride.
That's awesome. And the fact that you were able to capture all of those moments through a camera, and there's
Yes.
so much meaning behind it. And I think that's the beautiful thing about photography is there a picture says a thousand words, the cliche saying, and you
Hmm.
were able to capture that and do the videography for that, and you got to feel it, you got to be there, but then you can also take those photos and look at it down the road and just really understand what that all meant. So yeah, that's a really great journey. So you said 7 years you were doing that. And are you still
Yeah.
doing that veterans ride?
Well, the veterans ride. So last year they kind of changed up their program. So instead of doing like a one long journey to the motorcycle rally, they've been doing, to impact more veterans. They kind of started doing smaller group rides that were more centralized into a certain area. Um, and so it hasn't been something to document in the way that we would document the pilgrimage to the rally, but always supporting them and whatever I can do to help for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right on. So
Yeah.
that's a really great motorcycle journey that you've taken, and you were able to take photos of it. So I would love to know maybe another motorcycle shoot that you have done that's been your favorite.
Oh boy. Gosh, there's so many over the years. Well, one year, 2016, I was supporting Robert Pandya and Indian Motorcycle. Robert Pandya is the COO of the Buffalo Chip,
Okay.
Sturgis Buffalo Chip, people might be aware of. And that year, I was supporting Robert and Indian Motorcycle as they were sponsoring the Sister Centennial Motorcycle Ride, which was extremely cool. This was honoring two sisters, the Van Buren sisters, who in 1916, well, prior to that, these two sisters wanted to join the army. Okay, now I could really relate to these girls.
Hmm.
This is 1916, remind you. They wanted to join the army, but it was like, hey, 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 you're girls, you can't join the army. Yeah. Well, we're really good. We could be motorcycle riders and deliver messengers for you on the front lines. They're like, you're girls. I doubt you can ride motorcycles. Well, we'll prove to you that we can. We'll ride from New York to San Francisco
Hmm.
in 1916 on 1916 Indian motorcycles. We'll do that and show you that we're worthy of this. Oh yeah, oh, I don't know. We'll see about that. Well, these girls rode these motorcycles in 1916. Most of the roads weren't even paved from from Brooklyn, New York to San Francisco. And they were arrested numerous times for wearing leather pants because women shouldn't be wearing leather pants back then. They rode their motorcycles up Pikes Peak, which wasn't paved. I mean, these chicks were just too cool. And we got to do this ride, you know, tracing their route that they took and honoring them 100 years later. It was just fantastic. It was amazing. There was, incredible bonds built with the other riders that were on the ride. The history that we were able to dive into, and while we were recreating the route that they took. And the best part of the story is when these girls got to San Francisco, they were about 3 weeks behind on their arrival date because they ran into running out of gas, having trouble getting water, getting supplies, breaking down, fixing these motorcycles. So they get to San Francisco and there was supposed to be a big welcoming reception for them, and there was nobody there. And these two girls are like, well, where's the party? Well, I don't know. Do you want to ride down to Tijuana and have a party down there? Sure. So they got on their bikes and they rode down to Tijuana for a party. I love it. They were awesome.
I love that little piece of history that I've never heard of. And
Yeah,
yeah, what a great story. And probably one of well, they definitely were the pioneers of it all. Let's face it.
sure.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It was amazing because, like, I'm a history nerd, I geek out over stuff like that. So it was like combining like girls that wanted to serve their country, these patriots, they were awesome. They were also strong enough to ride motorcycles on their own. I mean, like this was just everything I was excited about. It was just so cool. So,
And
yeah.
again, being able to capture the I guess the support and the love of this story through that ride with your photography is just a great additive to your passion. So that's a really great story. And thanks for sharing that. I really like
Yeah,
that little piece.
absolutely. It's what I like to say about photography is, I don't know, I kind of feel like in the grand scheme of life, right? What is there? We can collect things, we can collect cars, motorcycles, but you're not going to take that with you in the end. I think the only thing that you're really going to hang on to in the end of this journey is your memories, right? And those are gold. Those are just so precious to you. And sometimes you have a memory that's so vivid in your brain, like it's your memories are, I say they're burned onto the image sensor,
Mhm.
like the camera in your brain. And sometimes it can be hard to translate that to others, but if you have that moment captured in a photograph, then you never have to worry about being able to share that with somebody else. Because I mean, you think about throughout history, what has been the greatest source of camaraderie and getting together is sharing stories, sharing memories, sharing experiences, right? I mean, that's what it all comes down to. You get together with friends to talk, to reminisce,
Mhm.
and having those photographic visual captures of your memories to share with people is, I feel, super important.
I completely agree. And I think the more you immerse yourself in these sort of experiences, the more you appreciate it. You appreciate just making memories and putting yourself out for experiences instead of just buying the latest technology or the latest this and that. It really is all about experiences and being able to capture that on a, like you said, on a with a photograph. It's just added that you can always remember,
Yes.
and then you can share that story with someone. And I think more people need to realize that. Put yourself out there more, experience these things, capture it with a photograph instead of just like sitting on the couch, playing your video game,
And
buying
it,
like
yeah, and it's so easy these days with these little awesome cell phones. They work amazing, right? I mean, the technology is there, it's right there.
Mhm.
And just get out there, go do stuff, and don't just use your phone to sit there and scroll. Because in my opinion, and it's kind of crazy. I work in marketing, but sit there and scrolling is kind of a waste of time. It's taking away from your opportunity to get out there and make those memories, have those experiences.
Yep.
But use it to capture those moments. For sure, use it to capture those moments and share it with your friends and family that want to know what you're up to. Absolutely, that's important. But don't just sit and watch everybody else's experiences and not make your own.
That's right. And keep going. And obviously, you have a lot of passion for that. And you also have a passion for the environment, getting out there, exploring the scenery around you. So, and it's very evident in your artwork. So, I would love to know, how do you add in motorcycles to your photography by also adding in the love of the environment? And how do you just merge these two in a creative sense?
Well, I mean, that is the motorcycle's natural environment, right? It is outside. It's, the garage is kind of a part of the natural environment of the motorcycle, but the motorcycle was built to extend your ability to get out and explore. It becomes an extension of your body. You're shifting with your hands and your feet, and it's an extension of you. You're controlling the power of that motorcycle. And so its natural environment is where it can bring you. And so, creating landscape captures with a silhouette of a motorcycle is important to me because that's where the motorcycle belongs, in my opinion. Sure, it gets parked away at night, safe and comfy in your garage or on the lift when you're working on it and taking care of it. But its natural environment, is out there in the wild. So,
Yeah, that's very true. And on your website, you say that you are a luthromaniac. So obviously, that just means someone who loves having freedom and exploring. You're adaptable. And I want to know, how do you see motorcycles as a vehicle for personal growth and transformation? And because
um,
you kind of touched on it, that it's motorcycles are in its natural environment and you get to ride it and see it, but I'd like to know, is there another way that you see it as a personal development tool?
it's amazing the confidence that riding a motorcycle instills in you, I feel. Again, because it just becomes an extension of your body. So now you've just taken your human form and almost kind of turned it into like this Terminator-esque thing where you're connected to this machine and now you're working together as one. So I feel like that is it's just this natural progression to building that confidence in you, um, building your skills, your situational awareness. All of this stuff is happening. You're heightening your sense of smell when you're riding, your visual sense. You're paying attention to what's going on around you. So you are personally growing every time you're straddling that motorcycle, in that sense, but also in the sense that you're growing in that those experiences that this motorcycle is bringing you. If you're taking a trip to a place you've never been before, you're seeing things you've never seen before. This motorcycle is putting you in experiences you've never experienced before. Maybe this motorcycle left you on the side of the road and you just figured out how to do whatever to it to get it back up and running, and that builds your confidence like crazy. um gearing up for a ride and packing your motorcycle and making sure all your electronics on your motorcycle are working and knowing firsthand that you just made sure that that motorcycle is in top running condition, that boosts your confidence level and makes you feel more secure. So it's there's so many ways that the motorcycle can help you grow in ways. Um, it's unbelievable. Yeah, really.
I agree. And I feel like, yeah, you describing it like that in such an in-depth way, it makes me realize, like, yeah, it really does. It's more than just like saddling up and just riding. Like, it really does take a huge air of confidence to get on a motorcycle, especially when you're driving in town. You can't trust people on the road, so you got to trust yourself and your skills. And if you don't have that on a motorcycle, well, good luck to you.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's you've always got to look out for the other guy on the road. So you're not only looking out for, controlling your reactions and distractions, but you're paying attention to everybody else's. So you just kind of heighten that situational awareness level up a notch. So
Yes, and you can
yeah,
take
it's
it to everything, really,
hmm
truly, just having
yeah,
awareness of your for yourself, what you your actions, what you do, awareness of what other people are doing. Like that's key to personal development is awareness
yeah.
of every aspect of your life.
Yeah, there's a book that's an amazing book. It's a military reference called Left of Bang, and
Mhm,
it's sort of like being able to um, act before the whatever the event is going to happen, being able to it's like preventative maintenance, right? It's being able to be so situationally aware that you are prepared for, whatever event could happen. So, when you're riding at dusk, you're paying attention for deer, for animals running out, you're left of bang. You're ready for it before it happens. And hopefully if it does happen, you're able to maneuver around it.
yes, okay,
So
I like that. I like that phrase. Another, yeah, I guess military is huge in your family, so I like that phrase, and you just take it to your everyday life. Very
yeah.
necessary.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and not just on riding motorcycles, right? I mean, um, look at, if you're in a city environment, there's lots of opportunities for things to go wrong. Whether you're on a motorcycle or in a vehicle or even just as a pedestrian, you just kind of want to remain left of bang.
Mhm, absolutely. So you have been doing this for a long time. Being a photographer, you work in a lot of different areas that kind of all have a very similar air about them, with freedom and self-expression. So motorcycles, the outdoors, and also firearms and all of that. So I would love to know, what sort of advice would you give to aspiring artists who want to incorporate their personal passions into their creative work while also making a positive impact on the world?
You know, I'd say making a positive impact on the world. Um, I'd say don't be consumed with trying to make a positive impact on the world. Focus on, don't overwhelm yourself with that responsibility because having an impact on one person is having an impact on the world.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, for me, I've learned over the years that the one-on-one relationships, the experiences with, new people coming together and working through something difficult together, coming together as a team, um, or just impacting a child, empowering them to do something, watching them understand something. That to me is more important than trying to change the world.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that if we all kind of focused on that, then that change in the world would happen, right? Because everybody would be affected, right?
Right.
So, I'd say, because early on, I did kind of like focus on that big picture, like how am I gonna achieve this goal? How am I gonna affect everybody? Well, that's not really what I learned over the years was important. What important was those one-on-one relationships and making a difference in someone's life and helping them or them making a difference in your life.
Mhm.
That's what was really important. And that kind of kept fueling my creativity and my passions and evolving my passions. And I'd say once you get a grasp on that, uh, it things really just come together for you.
Yeah, and I think also too, just it's just being authentic, like not trying so hard, just do what
Hmm.
you love to do, and that will naturally, like you said, even if you help out one person,
Yep.
making a difference, and you didn't have to try because you genuinely wanted to do so.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's great, and yeah, I feel like more people should take that advice. Just don't try so hard. Do what you do, you the best you can. You know.
Yeah, I mean, right there in your own community where you are, there's lots of ways to be effective and find inspiration,
Mhm.
find passions, find people to connect with. Doesn't matter where you are, right there and where you are at that moment. That's what's important.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. So you love motorcycles. Obviously, you've been riding for a while. So have you ever been into a motorcycle accident? And if so, what did you learn from it?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I was in a pretty bad wreck in 2017. I was shooting some flat track racing.
Mhm.
I was in my sidecar, and the pilot um, got a little out of control and fl got into a right-hand turn and let off the throttle. And if anybody that rides a sidecar knows that once you get into a slide and you let off the throttle, it just hooks and kind of catapults. And so I was catapulted out of the sidecar with my camera. And I was so concerned about the camera. Luckily, the camera was safe. My foot, not so much.
Yeah, right.
Um, so it was a real rough injury. It was a lot of surgeries. There was a lot of damage to my foot, and it kind of I don't want to say it humbled me. It also kind of I don't want to say terrified me, but made me. I can remember riding, and I remember my 1996 Sportster and doing head work to it. And everybody, when I ran my motorcycle shop, knowing that like people would come in, oh, I want to make my bike go faster. I want to throw a set of cams in there. And working with Jim Libinati of Megaflow, being able to understand fully that if you really wanted to enhance the performance of your motorcycle, you needed to do head work. And I had that opportunity with this motorcycle. And just I can remember like cruising out like 120 and looking down, watching that pavement just go ripping past and not feeling any hesitation, any insecurity whatsoever. But then after 2017, it's like that changed. And I don't know if it was a combination of age and that experience, but it had changed in me to the point where I just wasn't interested in being on the street riding anymore. Dirt was still appealing to me. Off-road was always still appealing to me, but street motorcycle riding just wasn't as appealing to me anymore. Um, and that's kind of uh, where that left off. Sold my bike, haven't bought another street bike. What I did was I had worked out of vans I had probably four different vans. The last van was a 2003 Dodge Ram van. Um, Left me stranded in Albert Lee, Minnesota, and I had to get to Pennsylvania for a flight for a photography job, and I literally had, I think, like 5 hours that I made. I got the van fixed, and I had about 5 hours till the flight. I was very lucky. Um, so this was all around the same time. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go full time in the van, and I'm gonna build a brand new van. So I bought a 2017 GMC Savannah van. My friend David Adams at Clever Crow Fab worked with me, a lot of companies I was working with in the firearms industry, and outfitted that van with solar panels to be completely self-reliant, and spent a few years full time in that van, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all over this country. And that was sort of like, I would say that was definitely a healing time frame after that accident, kind of getting me reconnected with the road in a way that I felt more confident and comfortable.
Okay, awesome. Well, again, Sarah, thank you so much for your time today. It was great to hear about what you're doing and how you're bringing great things to the motorcycle community. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. It was super fun to talk to you.
Yes, thank you. Take care. Until next time.
Okay, very cool. Thanks.